Hello and welcome to Moxie Journal. I'm Calix. I am so glad you are here with me. Today what I wanted to do was share a few of my purple decks with you. I've been watching people like Sylvie over at Tarot Magpie and Tammy Pie sharing their favorite color or their different colored decks. Sylvie's, theirs were all pink, and Tammy Pie were all green, and I just thought, well, I don't even know how many purple decks I have, but it's my very favorite color, so I thought, well, let's see. And I found quite a few, actually, more than I thought. So I thought I'd share a few of them with you. So I have some journals too, just to let you know it's not just in decks that I love purple, but in pens and inks and my journals. So, okay, I'm gonna scoot these over and we'll go through them a little bit at a time. Now, this one is my newest one. I just got it. It's called Creative Consciousness Healing, and it's an oracle deck by Johanna Wright. And I've just had a chance to just look at it a little bit. One of the reasons that I got it was because my first love, even before tarot, probably before anything, is journaling. I've been keeping journals since I was about 4, and I made my mother staple some paper together and hand me a pack of crayons. So what I loved about this beautiful book, I opened right to the purple diamond one, but for each card, and you can use the deck without the book. I mean, you can just kind of look at the key words and look at the pictures and do whatever you want. But I think the book is really helpful, and it's got the key concepts. It has a creative visualization for each one and a journaling prompt for every single solitary card. So that was what sold me, and then I got them, and they're kind of big. I think of them as ultra cards. I don't have an issue with that. I don't really, I don't know if I have small hands or just medium-sized hands, but they're not super easy to shuffle. They're more like, kind of ultra cards. I'm not very good with that, but anyway, they're fine to just shuffle. So here's the purple diamond, and I'll shuffle them. I think you can just shuffle them kind of like this. They're a little bit stiff, but thin. They're nice. I really, I'm practicing what I can say about cardstock. I don't know that much about it, but I like these just fine, and they have a sweet purple back with some other colors, little serpent for healing and transformation. And then the cards, there are 44 of them, and they're just, I could kind of maybe get you down a little closer to see the cards and not really the box anymore. Let's do that. And they just, while they're not all 100% purple, which would be not as interesting, they have a lot of purple in them with some brighter colors. And I love how this one with the yellow kind of in the middle, right? Yellow and purple being opposite, that kind of makes it stand out. These have sweet messages, and I cannot wait to work with these. Oh, you didn't get to see this one says mushroom on it. So deep sleep, that one. Soft breeze, true voice, communicating with your truth. I got these and I was hard pressed not to just change my mind about my March practice, but maybe this will be part of my April practice. I'm not entirely sure yet. I wasn't reading tarot cards a year ago, or not consistently. I was mostly just every once in a while pulling an oracle card and journaling, and then I'd go a couple of months. So I didn't have a practice last spring to kind of rely on. So this whole spring practice is new to me. But those are, again, this is called the Creative Consciousness Healing. It is my newest purple deck. So I thought I would start with the new, and then maybe go back to the OG, which will get a little bit of an honorable mention. Here, my very first deck that I ever bought, I bought because it had a purple box, and it was in 1982, and you couldn't just open the cards and look at them. You had to look at you had to look at the box and, you know, kind of read, and maybe, you know, maybe the person at the store could tell you something about it, but where did it go? Here it is. Lost it on my deck. So my first deck that I got is the Stairs of Gold Tarot by Tavaglione, and it has this wonderful purple box. Now you can see it's beat up. It's been all over. And so, you know, I looked at the box, I saw these symbols, I saw the purple border, and I thought, oh, this will be great. And then when I got it home, there is nary a speck of purple in anywhere. Maybe the Stairs of Gold should have given it away. So the only thing purple about this whole deck is really the box. So it only gets an honorable mention, but I did pick it probably, again, it's 1982 was a while ago. So primarily it was because of the box. And then the second deck I got, the second deck I got that I actually worked with, the new Palladini. Again, one of the selling features for me was this beautiful purple in it. The High Priestess, that sort of purpley pink. And again, this was in 1986, so you still couldn't open them and look at them. But this one actually did have quite a bit more purple in it, and I haven't gone through and pulled the purple cards to the front. I should have done that, but I'll try and search for some. There's some in the Hanged Man and the King of Swords, and one of the things that I like about it is that where the purple is, it sort of highlights that regal, intuitive feeling of the cards. So look, this Queen of Swords, isn't she wonderful? And I like it down here. So even when it's only a little bit as an accent, it really speaks to me. I did actually recently watch like an Instagram reel or something where there's a physicist talking about how purple's not an actual color as far as physicists go. And I don't understand that because, you know, if you think about a prism. But anyway, he said basically our brains sort of make it up. And it's basically purple is the code in our brain. Oh, see, the Knight of Swords, look at all that. For not green. So purple is really our brain's way of saying not green. So if anybody knows anything about that, if anybody's a physicist or has ever heard that, let me know what you think about that. I kind of actually loved that my favorite color was not a real color. And maybe that's why, you know, it's been this color of mystery and magic, and because it's, you know, see, and look at the little flowers on that strength card. It's one of my favorites. And even when it's just a little hint. So this is the new Palladini deck, and I think there are newer versions. I haven't seen it. Haven't seen anybody's walkthrough, so I don't know if the colors are the same. But this is, I just love this deck, and I definitely categorize it as a purple deck. That it resonates there for me. I have a group of friends that I travel with, and we take art classes, and they all know me so well. First of all, because, you know, when you're traveling, you're having to go somewhere for 3 weeks, and I don't like to have a check bag, so I have a very limited wardrobe. It's like purple and black, and that's it. And so anytime they see something, a scarf or a gloves or a hat or something that may have been left, they always think, oh, that must be Calix's. One of the girls said, you know, I like purple too. So I didn't mean to pretend it was, you know, my personal color and only my color. I'm willing to share it with anybody who loves it, but I do just love it. So the Hierophant is not one of my favorite cards as a general rule, but, you know, if you've got to have one, I think this guy is pretty cool. So, all right. So, that was the Hierophant. So that was my second oldest. And then maybe I thought I would share with you. And if you watch my video about my goodbye to February and hello to March, you've already seen this one. But this is the deck I'm working with in March. This is the Magical Nature Tarot. And it's this wonderful, it is purple, but it's like natural pigment and metal purple. This is a completely eco-friendly deck. And so the artist who is the Sync Spirit Collective, and each one of these letters stands for a part of their, it's one person, I think, but one of the letters stands for their spirit guide, and one is for their artistic side. And anyway, it's in the wonderful separate book. I bought the separate book that came with it, and it explains it all. And so it's by the Sync Collective. And these are, they spread so easily, and you can see the purple on the back. They're this eco-friendly printing and paper stock, and this is actually my favorite. I was saying in that other video about how much I love to shuffle this deck. It's just so smooth. It's this cardstock, it's really thin and flexible, but it doesn't bow. I mean, it really holds, it comes back. And so this deck, definitely the backs are very purple, and it's a collage deck. So depending on the pictures, you get more or less of the purple, but it's these dyes and inks that are made with plant and metal collaborators is how the artist describes it. And there's a beautiful walkthrough of this deck if you haven't seen the whole deck on Simon at the Hermit's Cave. He does a great job of stepping through and talking about all the different pieces and his reaction to it. So I won't do that again. You can go find that. I've got a bunch of decks to share, but I just wanted to tell you I'm just a couple of days in with working with this, but it is really, it brings in these colors, and without being the kind of purple that's really screamy, right? It's very grounded, and that kind of calls you forth, and it's very earthy in that purple way. So it's this great blend of the spirit realm, right? You can see where amethyst comes from when you think about this beautiful deck. So that's that one. Another kind of earthy deck that I have, and again, this is another new one, like my Creative Consciousness Healing Oracle cards. I haven't worked with it. I've welcomed it in to my collection. So I've done just a welcome in spread, and I've journaled about it, but I haven't started using it in a daily way or a weekly way or anything like that. I've just admired it. And this is the Forager's Daughter Tarot, and it is by, oh, look here. Oh, I don't have the book right here. I'll put it in the description box. She's lovely. It's an independent deck, and I got the separate book that goes with it. And look at these lovely backs. They have a cicada on them. And this, again, this is a very gentle, quiet, kind of earthy purple. And it goes, it's got sort of shiny gold gilding, which I think looks really pretty with the sort of evening purple, sort of that twilight kind of purple sky, kind of purple. And then every once in a while it's set off by a bright color. I love that the lovers are these dragonflies. The Hermit. So I don't know, like this card looks a lot more purple in my hands with this purple ribbon and this sort of light lavender on the sides than it does on camera. And they're set off, this border is like a cream color, so it kind of softens the purples. This is a little bit more of a plum. That death card. Temperance. I love this temperance with the little salamander. You've kind of got the two elements there. The devil. I often don't like the devil card, but I kind of like this guy. The tower. And the star. That pop of red against the purple really is that, for me, when I think of that cardinal in the spring, when everything's been so cold and icy, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, when you haven't seen color in a while, just against that just pale, pale sky, then you've got this bright cardinal. So I love that here with the little flowers coming up through the snow, the moon. And again, I won't ooh and ah over every single solitary card because I have a bunch of decks still left to show, but oh, I just really love this. Again, this is the Forager's Daughter Tarot, and it is the Afterlight, I think, edition. I had the book, I thought, on my desk, and I don't see it. But again, let's see if there's a... So the cups have sort of a purple pattern to them, and then the pentacles have a sort of green because they're earthy, but then they have some sort of grayish purple pieces. And then when you get to the swords, this sort of that airy, that steely gray purple is in there. And then when you get to the wands, it's just kind of in the corners. Again, it's a little bit of that blue, purple gray, and it all just works together gently, that sort of evening purple. And then this beautiful box. Again, I like the cicada, and so I might even save this deck until May or June. That's when the cicadas come out in my part of the world, that early summer feeling. So, Forager's Daughter. And then I have a fun deck, a little Buffy fan deck. This is the tiny version, and it's, who's this by? Look at the book. Let's see if I can, I should have put my glasses on to see this. Anyway, this is just this is a fun deck for me. It's just to kind of play around. I don't know about you, but I have such a hard time resisting things in the little tins. I just love them. This one's a little smaller than the ones I've had before, but it's got this purple on the back. And honestly, I'm new to the show. I didn't get to watch it when it was on. I had too many kids and not a very easy access to television, but I'm rewatching it now. And, you know, I caught a few episodes one at a time. And I actually watched Bones first. So when we met Angel in Buffy, I was like, oh, that's the guy from Bones. And my friends were like, you are so funny. He was Angel first. So I think this is a really fun deck. And actually, I really like the Hierophant because it is, it's Giles, who is Rupert. Oh, he's in Ted Lasso. He's like the bad guy, the evil soccer team owner in Ted Lasso. So I knew him from that first before I knew him from Buffy. But there you go. So this is a fun little deck, definitely purple. And again, I haven't really done any readings. I've welcomed it in. I've played with it a little bit. I've showed it off and talked about it with friends. But for me, this is one of those. It's just fun to have. I don't know how much actual work I'm gonna do with it, but I love it. And then this one, the Seasons of the Witch. This is the Letha Oracle. I have had this one for a while, but I got it after, and this is, so it's the midsummer. It's the pagan wheel of the year, and I got it after that season. So I haven't actually gotten to work with it in the season. But look at this. All of the Season of the Witch oracles. There are 8 of them, one for each of the Sabbats, and they all have sort of a different color theme, and then they have a motif that goes around the moon. And so for the summer, for midsummer is the butterflies, and it's sort of got this like pinky purple edging, a little bit pinker than actual purple, but then the back is purple, so it kind of looks great there. And then the sort of highlighting in the words is purple. And I think most people who are hanging out on TarotTube either have all of these or have at least seen them, but I just love them, and I love the little bits of purple that kind of tie all the bright summer colors in. You know, some of them have more purple than others, but they all absolutely call to that purple, just bountiful flower garden to me. So again, you've probably seen these, but they just make me happy, and I cannot wait for summer to get here so I can work with these. All right, one that you may not have seen that I think is very fun is this Magical Creatures Tarot, and it's in a sweet little sort of, what color purple would you call this? I don't know. It's a little bit gray, lavender, and it's got a great box. I really like the boxes. If it's got to be a tuck box, I like that it opens all the way up, and this little unicorn peeks out. It's sweetly drawn. It's kind of fairy tale, and it's like a numbered, signed edition. And this is by Wilder Hearts Studio. And I got a little bag for it. Look at this cute little bag with the raven on it. I've been liking the box. So I have the box and and look, it's got, you can kind of see, oops, I left the card in there. But I kind of want to like take the box apart and see what's got. It's like it kind of invites you in. Look, like kind of peek in there. It says lots of love and best wishes on your magical journey. I love when little spaces kind of invite you in. Like that is part of magic. That's one of those things that feels very purple to me. And the backs of these, they have a dragon and then a unicorn on this lavender with the moon. And it's a great little guidebook. Again, the text is very small, but it doesn't waste any time on the picture. So you get all the text that you need, but it's not that different. So you wouldn't even really have to work with the book. And it does have some extra cards in addition to the tarot. So like this gingerbread house, we've got this cute little mousey, and again, they're all these sort of illustrated storybook characters, and there's purple kind of woven through. Again, the backs are purple, the edges is sort of this very light lavender, and the cardstock. This is another deck. It's a standard, this one's a standard tarot size, I think. Let's see, this is exactly, yeah, it's just a standard tarot size. And I really like thin cards that are easy to shuffle, but that hold their shape. So I don't know anything about the cores or anything like that. And again, because I'm not, I have years and years and years with my decks, so I don't read professionally, so I only read for myself, so I don't have any idea about how long these last, either energetically or physically. Look at the tower, and it's kind of purple on the outside, again with the purple and the yellow, it just kind of makes it pop. And the star card often seems to have some really pretty purple in it, so I can't tell if I like the star card because it usually has purple, or the other way around, like chicken and the egg kind of thing. So this is a really fun deck to work with. It's very true. It gives me good, solid readings, but it always kind of makes me smile. There's just a little bit of whimsy to it. Doesn't shy away from telling me what I need to pay attention to. Actually, I don't know that I have a deck that shies away. I think most of my decks know that maybe I need to be wrapped on the noggin every once in a while to get the message across. Look at this Page of Wands. The Knight of Wands, the Queen of Wands. Look at that King. Kind of fiery king with that purple sky with those shining stars. God, I just love this deck. Little sea creature there. Oh, look at the Three of Cups moment with these gorgeous mermaid folk, merfolk. Little nostalgia going on in this one. I love his little face. Anyway, little tale of, if I was a sea creature, I'd want purple and green scales like that. So, again, it's not overwhelmingly purple, but if you don't like purple, don't get this deck. Because for me, it's just the right amount. And for those of you who, you know, don't like the Three of Swords when it's just the pierced heart, you won't really like this one, but I kind of like it, and I like the way that the swords each have like a different piece on the pommel, the key here, and then the unicorn there with the tears. I think that's a really good lesson card. And again, see, not every card has purple on it, but they all, you know, they all work with the purple. So this is, I have just been loving this one. Ugh, I get that Ten of Swords all the time, all the time. So I guess I need to deal with my melodrama, I suppose. I'm not really sure. I probably need to do a study on that. Again, this is the Magical Creatures Tarot by the Wilder Hearts Studio. I highly recommend it. I have a few more. So let's see, that was a tarot, so let's do an oracle next. This, I'm working with this one this month. This is the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle, and oh, this is the purpliest of my purple decks. So the box is purple, the book is purple. I love this one. The pictures inside are just black and white, which is totally fine. I like this one because it has sacred geometry. Look at this purple ribbon, and it has this beautiful, bright purple backs, and then with this sort of purple inlaid foiling and this pretty purple edging. You can see when I shuffle a lot, I've been using this a lot, you can see I start to wear off the edges, but I say this all the time, I don't mind that. That just means that these cards are getting used and loved, and if it totally wears off, then I'll figure out what to do about it then. But these are, when I really want purple, I go to these because there is, and this is a bright purple, like so. Actually, I pulled this deck out last month in February, and it was too bright. It was too, that vibration was too high for where I needed quieter. Even the cards like Scarcity, and I think there's a Melancholy card. I mean, that is a pretty bright Scarcity card. But you know, for me, in the summer when the sun is really bright and there are all these colors, this is a good level of saturation and color. And all of these have bees, so if you don't like purple and you don't like bees, this is not the deck for you. But I love bees. I'm a wannabe beekeeper. I have studied beekeeping and I've helped, and I have my own bee veil, but I've never had my own hive. So that's, we'll see. I have some physical limitations in terms of lifting. So that is a bit of a challenge if you're going to lift a part of a traditional hive that could be weighed down with 15 pounds of honey, and then you stack it, and you stack 3 of those on top of each other, which is the way traditional beekeeping happens. Look at this stagnation card. He's got this purple in his robe, but then you've got the bee comb there. I just think that's... This deck combines really well for me too with pretty much anything I have put with it. But it definitely brightens things up, the meanings. I really like the guidebook and the way it explains the sacred geometry. And don't know if the camera's picking it up, but there's geometry and there's an element. You have to look in the book for the element for each association for the cards. This one, this compassion, I showed this off in my last video, but I love this card. I have to make myself put it back in the deck to shuffle because I just like to have it sitting out. This deck is a really good meditation deck. I can pull just one card and really think on these images. They are brightening and elevating, but also soothing. And sometimes when I am about to journal and I'm a little stuck about how to get color, I really like to work with color washi tapes and colored pens and things, and sometimes I get a little stuck with the same color combinations that I use. I pull out one of these cards and then I copy it. Like, this is not a color combination I usually gravitate to. It has a lot of oranges to go with the blues, and even though I know orange and blues work together really nicely, and then with that yellow that pops with the purple, I don't think to pull these oranges and blues. So sometimes I'll just pull out one of these cards and then make myself sketch or draw or paint with that same palette. That's been wonderful. Oh, this enigmatic card. It's another one I like to have sitting out. So I don't like to pick total favorites, but if I had to, I would say that right now this Wisdom of the Sacred Bee would be my favorite purple deck. I've still got two more to show you, so I maybe should have saved my favorite one to the very end, but I didn't do that. Mana. Look at that. Oh, it's just delicious, right? This deck delights all of my senses. Co-creation. All right, I won't go through every one. I'll pull out just a couple more. Ambition. Again, it's sort of a collage style deck, but for me, the elements do pull together nicely. They don't seem fragmented the way some collage decks can feel, which is totally fine. I mean, I think sometimes that fragmentation is provocative and it's on purpose, and sometimes that is, I think, where you can get some really good readings, but I can only put up with a little bit of that energy before I'm sort of exhausted with it. So I think I'll put this enigmatic card on the top, so when I pull it out. So again, that's the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle. And that's my favorite right now. Okay, we'll put it over here. I think the other two that I have, well, I'll do a little honorable mention. This is the Universal Folk Oracle by Anita Inverarity. And while it is not purple, it's purple adjacent. So again, it's sort of this muted green, has this purple on the inside, and it's a little bit more subdued. I love this deck because it is it's self-described as introverted. These characters are introverted. Their faces are kind of covered. They often have a little familiar with them. And there's a crystal suggested for each card that talks about how to help with the energy of the card. So I just put the purpliest ones on the top. But this is a really wonderful deck to work with because it's very easy. You can read the book is great, but you don't have to. It's got a keyword and then it's got some other sort of expansions there. So remembrance, but then remembering and love and loss and healing, right? So it kind of takes you all the way through. And the solitude, again, these purples are a little bit more muted. This deck is quiet. The protection, I love that one. And actually the compassion card is very purple, but it's on my altar today. It's crystalline. And these are young cards. And, sometimes I have a hard time with the fact that, I'm not a young maiden anymore. And I have a hard time if an entire deck is just all young wayfish girls. But this deck, it doesn't bother me. These maidens and their journey here. They feel ageless enough that it draws me in and is reflective. Look at that. Again, these have sort of a range. They have some mauve, they have some plum, a little bit of burgundy, and some of these with the lavender and the violet. So it's a range. I love her. She's got a little moon tattoo, like our friend Indigo Moon Woman. Diane, I think her name is. Love her tattoo, so brave. Harvest. Again, she's got the necklace with a crystal in it, and I just love that owl. Balance. That purple hair is fun, isn't it? I used to have purple hair. It wasn't quite that purple. It was aubergine, which is eggplant. And well, for Americans, we call them eggplants, not aubergines. And then healing. This one's beautiful. And then I think these are the ones that have more plums and a lot of greens. But again, even these green cards, look at how pretty they look with purple. Purple is my very favorite color, but green is my second favorite. So this deck is lovely, and it actually works beautifully with the Magical Nature Tarot. It's been giving me some really powerful clarifications and deepenings. So 2 purple decks that work great together. All right, my friend, last deck. Oh, I actually have another little honorable mention. This one is the Nature Portal, so Jamie Sawyer's. And these are circular cards. And while this is not a purple deck at all, I mean, I think that it's sort of a rainbow deck, has kind of all the colors. When I first pulled it out, the purple ones sort of jumped out at me, so I kind of put them at the top so you could see how pretty these are. And again, these are circular cards, and they're all animal cards. But oh, I love them. I love animal cards. And this deck has worked really well for me to clarify and enhance with tarot. So particularly if I'm working with a deck that has a lot of people in it, it helps me to have an oracle that has some more animals in it. Oh, little opossum card. My mother cannot stand opossums. In fact, she makes this funny little scrunchy face that my sister and I tease her about because they just freak her out. They really freak her out. So we are always teasing about getting her some possum merchandise anyway. So just these are kind of the first ones. And this one's a little bit more blue than purple, but oh, isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so that was an honorable mention. I think maybe, 10 or 12 of these cards are predominantly purple. And the rest are, I mean, it's a great deck. So if you like other colors, there's still some in there, but it doesn't. And the backs are this sort of blue-gray, but look at that mandala-like. You could just sit and meditate with that one. So again, Nature Portals by Jamie Sawyer. Love it. And then my final deck is the Borderless Tarot of a Moon Garden. And this one's really fun. This is one of my few decks that comes with this little fold-out spread for the Wheel of the Year. And anyway, I haven't used that part. I do love this book. Like, look how beefy this book is. I love a good book. And this one, I haven't read a lot. I've done the Welcome In. I've done a couple of spreads, and I read enough. I sort of read some of the books separately, and then when I played with the cards, I was just playing with them. But this is one of the few decks that I have that is sort of a night feeling deck. So I think that that's interesting. In fact, it's the only one that I can actually think of. I mean, I have some dark, I have the Gothic literature, I have some like that, but I mean, in terms of like evening, and so I have this, I so want to be an evening reflective reader and writer, and I am just not. I am such a morning person. I just wake up naturally early in the morning, and I'm one of those, the phrase that has been used very often in my life is annoyingly peppy morning people. So I try not to be around anybody. My partners are not morning people. But look at this. Look at this pretty edging. Oh. Anyway, so I got this deck thinking that I would use it at night, and then it would kind of be my evening read, and mostly I just hold the cards and then fall asleep. So I don't think I've ever successfully, I've laid some cards out, but I haven't gotten through the process of really putting them together and figuring out what they say. And these were kind of fun to me too, because they're skinny. So this is a standard size tarot. This is the Light Seers. And so they're a little taller. Here, I can kind of do this. They're a little taller and a little skinnier, which is easy and interesting for my hands. I kind of like these proportions. And again, it's got this really very purple, shiny bit. And then the back. So let's see if I can bring this here. And this is the kind of cardstock I like. It's that linen-y feel. It's pretty slippery, but it's thin, and it shuffles, but I did put it in order so we could look at it. So the Fool is, I don't tend to really like jesters and clowns very much, but I think this one is very interesting. It's got the little dog. I do think it's kind of interesting that our jester here has 3 legs. I'm kind of intrigued by the shape and what's going on here. So right away we're not in Kansas anymore. And we've got this magician, and this is right out of folk tales. The High Priestess, she kind of looks like a mermaid a little bit with her scales there and her scroll. The Empress, this butterfly. So I'm a sci-fi and fantasy person. I read so much when I was a kid, and I just love decks that take me out of this world and into my imagination. And again, not my favorite card ever, but the keys, the purple. I don't know. I think this little card, look at that face. It's pretty non-gendered there, I think. And the Chariot, look at this with and the Strength card. These proportions on the lion's face are kind of wild, but again, it's that dreamy. Look at the Hermit with the lantern that glows. The Wheel of Fortune as a merry-go-round. I love this little viper, serpent. What are those called? The king cobras. This Justice. The Hanged Man. I love that there are runes falling out of his pocket, or their pocket. And Death with the dragon. I think that's pretty interesting. These colors. This Devil card. You have the 2 figures. Again, I don't love getting the Devil card in a reading, but it often really reminds me about where to put my energy and where to focus on things. The Tower. This one's kind of interesting to me because I often like to see the Tower actually being torn down, not just on fire, but this one, you've got the lightning, you've got the fire, you've got, things, blasting out of it. And then you've also got this wave coming. So for me, it definitely feels like it is getting torn down. The Star, this hope, this beacon, so pretty. I actually really love this little lotus flower too. The moon. I don't often like faces on my moons and suns. That can kind of creep me out, but I kind of like these two, weirdly. Don't love this sun card too much. Sun card is just not really one of my favorites. I don't really like the little baby on the horse, and don't usually like a face on there if there's going to be. But it's a good card to get, so I'm working to get over myself. I like the subtle, sometimes these cards, when you look at them more and more, you see their faces, you see all the pieces at the bottom. So they only have 2 legs in this. I kind of like it sometimes when the world circles back to the Fool, but King of Swords. And this one, I did put it back. I think I put it back in the order that it came in. I tend to like to start with the aces and go up. And I also, when I really start working with the deck, I first put it in the order that I like the suits, which I haven't really seen. I think I've only had one deck that's come the way I prefer them. And it's because I cast my circles for when I do my magic. I always start in the north, which is pentacles, coins, and so I start north, and then I go east to air, and then I go south to wands, and then I go to cups. And I can, some decks come, they start with swords, and as long as they go swords, wands, cups, pentacles, I'm okay. But the most common order that drives me crazy, like energetically, it just doesn't work with my, 30 years of my magic practice, is when it starts with wands, and then goes to cups, and then comes across to swords, and then the energy goes back up north to pentacles. It's like you're making a zigzag instead of casting a circle. Like, I don't mind if you start anywhere on the circle and then cast a full circle, but starting in the south and going west and then coming east and then going north, you're making a lightning bolt, an upside down lightning bolt. I can't do it. I can't do it. I have to reorder my deck. I always ask my deck, I kind of talk to it, I explain, and I haven't had one that's disagreed with me about it yet, so I find ways to work at it. I love the storybook quality of this. I love the dragonflies in with the swords, and then the staffs. I think it's interesting that they say staffs instead of staves, but we've got the fire little lizard there. Almost got this kind of clown makeup. I love this knight with his lance, and he's got a little prancy horse there. Paige looks like she's swinging around. And then starting with the 10 and going down. I do like the movement in this 8. I mean, it's a traditional take on the slant and the movement of these staffs, these staves, but I like the green shoots coming out of them. And then the 7, the 6. I don't know if I'm holding these in a way that's good to see. 4, and then the 3. I love that. Can you see that purple creature? It's like a big dragon or giant swan boat. I don't know, kind of interesting. Makes me want to, these cards make me just want to know what storybook this is. I want to read it. I want to get in. I want to imagine myself in this world. I like the little fairy tale castle with the pennants. I like the little ferns. I love the King of Cups here. And I don't usually like the kings when they have like porn stashes and stuff. Like, that doesn't usually work for me, but his little face works just fine. The Queen of Cups has a fairy with all this lush foliage around. The Knight of Cups. This is my this knight and I have issues that we sort of love-hate. I'm working to kind of learn the knights better. Sometimes they just bug me, and sometimes we work really nicely together. The 10 of Cups. Oh, I just love that Ten of Cups. There's so much going on. This Ten of Cups just makes me want to color, right? Get out a coloring book, and then the 9, and then the 8, the 7. Again, that whole fairy tale theme, but it's that nighttime, it's that dream time. 6 of Cups, the 5, the 4, the 3. They're in the little cups. And I love this. They look like little stars kind of in the flower. Again, they've kind of got that clown makeup. Again, just remind you of the pretty, pretty purple. Ace of Cups. And last suit, again, here's our king. I like the sort of shape of this pentacle there. The Queen of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles. He's my favorite of the knights. I have issues with them, but he's my favorite. I heard, I think it was Howlight. She said that the Knight of Pentacles was, you know, he was the steady one, and the others would kind of charge about and all this energy, but the Knight of Pentacles shows up, and he's the knight who says, I've brought snacks, and this is my draft horse, Benjamin. And it just cracked me up, because it's exactly, I'm like, yes, I can handle him. He's brought me snacks. This is his draft horse. Let's get on. So thank you, Howlight, for making me laugh and for making me understand and have at least one solid relationship with one of the knights. And so, again, you know, you've got some, you know, numbers. I don't know if it's exactly pippish, but there's just sort of enough scene and invitation and color without being too much and overwhelming for me. Right? I don't really necessarily automatically get reciprocity or generosity out of that one, but, you know. But then back to a more traditional take, this 5 of Pentacles and the folks on the outside. And then the 4, and the 3, and the 2, and then there's the Ace. So that, my friend, is the Tarot of the Moon Garden, and that's my last of my purple decks. But I love them all. I love them all. So what is your favorite color? What deck do you like to work with? And do you get sick of a color? I will say that every once in a while, I've had too much color in my decks. And when I do, as a palette cleanser, maybe is it sitting right here? The Tarot of the Abyss, when I've had a little too much purple or a little bit too much of everything else going on, the Tarot of the Abyss is a nice, I mean, I guess technically it's black and white, but it's a little bit of that sort of parchment color and black and the lines. So this one is very nice when I need to reset my palette. So there you go, Purple Plus. Thank you for spending time with me as I play with my purple cards, an excuse to kind of get them out, and I didn't realize I had quite so many. And you know what? I'm wondering if maybe I could arrange my decks in rainbow order. I get annoyed when people arrange their books like that sometimes, because I think, how do you find your books? But maybe, I don't know, maybe I could get over it, and maybe I could arrange my decks in Roy G. Biv order. All right. Thank you for being here. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you soon.